Hello, hello, hello. How's it going today? Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me live again. Today I am going to be talking about pelvis posture for belly dance and a little drill that you can do, a little practice that you can incorporate into your practice to help you maintain that posture while you're dancing. Particularly if, like me, you tend to lose it a little bit, particularly at the back here. So before I carry on, just to remind you, if you are watching, please do give me a thumbs up or a little heart to let me know you're out there. And if you like what I'm talking about, please do share it with your friends or tag a friend who you think might be interested in this. I'll be keeping an eye on the comments in this one, so if you've got any questions, then please do pop them in there. And if you're watching on catch up, please also pop a question in if you have one and tag me in it, and then I will come back to you at another time. So let's have a talk about pelvic posture for belly dance. If you're a more experienced dancer, you probably know where you should be, even if you aren't already there. But I'm going to recap it, or at least how I like to think about posture, so that we're all on the same page. And if you're a newer dancer, then perhaps this will help you as well. So I like to think about the pelvis being like a bucket of water. So I'm going to adjust my pelvis by contracting just a little bit in the low belly. And this is really low belly. I'm not even necessarily thinking about below the belly button. It's even a little bit more on top of the pubic bone and even a little bit of inner thighs as well. So it's like your bucket of water is flat. So if I was to stand normally, I have quite a bit of a tilt. I'd be spilling water out of the front of my bucket. If I over contract, then I'm going to spill water out the back, and then in that nice neutral position, that's where the water in my imaginary bucket is flat. So this is obviously going to be different for different people. And another way to think about it, and I got this one, it was either Mirabetz or Donna Mejia, or perhaps both of them who said this, or I've heard this said in workshops with them, is to make a little triangle with your index fingers and thumb and place over your pubic bone. And then you just keep tilting your pelvis until the index fingers point downwards, and this is about where you should be for neutral. So you should be thinking about length in the low back. And why do we need this? Because we have our vertebrae. Imagine our vertebrae stacked on top of each other. And if you can create length in the low back, so space in between the vertebrae, so when we're moving the hips side to side in belly dance, that allows for maximum movement and safe movement as well, and so that we don't get into any discomfort at all. Now, if you're like me, I tend to have this what we call anterior tilt, so the pelvis is tilting forwards just naturally, and that's all sorts of reasons. That's a whole other Facebook Live as to why we might be in that position. That's not quite what I wanted to talk about today, but a lot of us are here, and a lot of us can easily forget to stay in posture when dancing, because obviously we've got so many layers to add on top of it. So I want you to think about, if you're doing this with me, think about doing a pelvis, tilting the pelvis forwards and backwards. So you're now going past that neutral point. So I call this a pelvic up or pelvic lift. I'm thinking about the pubic bone lifting up, but it's a bit long to say pubic bone lift, so I usually say pelvis lift or pelvis up, yeah. And I'm doing this again, yeah, really by contracting really low down, this bit of rectus abdominis that actually comes right down on top of your pubic bone, and then a little bit of inner thigh as well, because your inner thigh muscles are also connected to the pelvis too. So this is my pelvic up, pelvis lift, and I'm really thinking about almost flattening in the low back. If you do any Pilates, it's like an imprint, or if you're just lying on the floor, you're just thinking about pressing that low back into the floor and just coming into neutral each time. So from here, we're going to keep this movement going, and yeah, I just want to reiterate, I'm coming into neutral each time. When I come into neutral, I'm releasing the belly just a little bit with a little bit of contraction, so it's not a complete release, if that makes sense, just to get a bit of a bigger visual without tilting all the way into the back. That's just my preference. So lift and neutral, lift and neutral, lift and neutral, lift and neutral. So now we're going to choose a dance drill that we want to put this on top of. So I'm going to choose arm undulations for now, just because they are nice and far away from the pelvis. I won't say that your shoulders aren't connected to your hips. We're all connected all throughout the body. But what we're going to do is we're going to add this pelvis contract or pelvis up and release to neutral on top of the arm undulations. So this is a nice, slow, controlled movement. I'm thinking about just keeping it really smooth. And the goal of this is just to create a little bit of connection with your brain and your body. So this part of the body. So you're teaching your brain that maybe just to give it a bit of awareness to this part of the body whilst your focus is doing your arm undulations. Then you can focus on your arm undulations and hopefully keep your pelvis in neutral. So let's try this with something else. Rib cage circles, for example. A little bit more challenging now perhaps to layer this on top of. So we're going to get this soft movement, and again, it doesn't have to be a particular speed. It's not, the goal isn't necessarily layering the pelvis lift over the rib cage circle. It's more just creating a little bit of awareness in this part of the body so that then you can take it away and keep that awareness there and stay in the neutral position with the lower spine and the pelvis. So you can try this with any of your belly dance drills, and you don't have to do a long practice with keeping this moving. Like, you can just throw it in as you're practicing the other things. If you were practicing some squares, for example, you might want to do a couple of contractions just for, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, just to bring that awareness, and then come back to focusing on your rib cage circles. Then take it back down, check in, are you still in your posture, or maybe you've slipped out of it. So do a couple more contractions, a couple more lifts and neutral, just to bring that awareness back before focusing on what you're mainly practicing, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps a little bit for some of you. I've had a couple of questions on this recently, so I thought I would do a little live video to share with everyone. I haven't seen any questions come up, so unless someone wants to give me a quick question now, then I will leave you to it for today. Next week I'm not going to be doing a live on a Monday because it's Easter Monday, and although we're all in lockdown, I'm still going to have some kind of semblance of normality. So join me on Tuesday. Oh, somebody says love this. Thank you very much for this. I can't see who that is. That is Julia. Hey Julia, thank you so much. I'm glad you loved it. So yes, going back to what I was saying, Tuesday we're going to do a live Tabata Tuesday at probably lunchtime sometime on Tuesday next week, which is the 14th of April. So watch out for that one. So no live on Monday evening, but Tuesday lunchtime. And I also will be doing Thursday evening. We'll do a little dance along again. And also, if you know anyone who is a beginner belly dancer and wants to join me on tomorrow on my Solaris page as well, I'll be over there doing a lot of lives this week. So please come and join me again. If you have any questions, please do pop them in the box. Otherwise, I will see you next time.